Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Riddhi Datta, and in this very video I'm going to share my preparation strategy for low level design as well as machine coding, which helped me to crack a couple of startups as well as top product based companies. Now before starting off this video, I would just say I'm not an expert in this. I'm still learning and evolving as I grow along as an engineer, but I'm going to share my experience, the strategy that I followed, the things that I did, the things which I learned. I'm going to share all of that, all of my preparation with you guys that kind of helped me, as I said, to crack these companies. Also, one more thing I would like to point out is even freshers can watch this video till the very end, because LLD is asked in a couple of product based companies for them, as obviously SD2 and above can definitely watch this video as well. I am very sure this video is going to help you a lot. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that you need to know is the OOPS concepts, right? The object oriented principles, because without it, you won't be able to understand a single thing of low level design. The second thing which you need to learn is clean coding. Now, even if you're not learning low level design or preparing for LLD interviews, still I would highly recommend you to learn about clean coding, OOPS concepts before you actually start working for any company, right? Otherwise, whenever you would be raising your PRs, you would be getting a lot of comments from senior developers, and eventually you have to imbibe the qualities where you have to write a code in a certain way that is understood by other developers. Because let's say if you leave the company, then you have to write the code in such a way that it is self-explanatory and it is understandable by other developers, even if you are not there to explain it. So for clean coding, I would suggest one of the books, one of the very famous books by Robert C. Martin. But if you have followed any other resource for clean coding principles, you can comment down below. Again, this is something that you will get better with experience, but obviously you can get started with clean coding with the help of this book. Also, you can read about solid patterns. Again, that is going to help you a lot while you start your LLD journey. Next up would be design patterns, right? Now, there exist a lot of design patterns out there, but I'm going to tell you like a couple of the important design patterns that you should know before setting for LLD interviews. Obviously, you're free to go and read about all the design patterns that exist, but I don't think all of them would be required, at least for the LLD interviews. So I'm going to call them out. What are the important design patterns topics that you should definitely know? The first important design pattern that you should definitely know, even as a fresher, is the singleton design pattern. And if you are preparing for SD2 interviews, then make sure that along with the singleton design pattern, you also know that multi-threading part of it as well. I have covered that in detail in one of my videos in my LLD design pattern. Please go and watch that video if you haven't yet. Next is builder pattern. Again, I have explained builder pattern, builder design pattern in depth, and I was asked a lot of questions from builder pattern in one of my Goldman Sachs interview rounds, and I've covered all of that, and do go and check out my builder pattern video as well. Next is factory and abstract factory. Again, these are two very important design patterns that you should definitely know. Next is adapter pattern, and another one is decorator pattern, for which I have made a detailed video on. Another one is observer pattern. Again, there is a detailed video on it as well. You can go and check out my LLD playlist. I'm going to cover more and more videos on LLD very soon on my channel, so do stay tuned to my channel and subscribe and press the bell icon so that every time I upload such a video you get notified. Also, if you want to know my DSA preparation strategy and how do I prepare DSA, what are the topics that are required for DSA, how do I revise DSA, you can definitely go and check out my videos. You can go and check out my DSA pattern videos, where I've also made videos on different topics and the type of patterns and questions that you should do for each topic. Let's say I've made for binary search, graphs, interval problems, and so on. So you can definitely go and check it out. I'm very sure it is going to help you a lot in your interview preparation. So guys, in my last preparation strategy video, I had mentioned the importance of giving contests, because it helps you to stay in touch and also helps you with the speed and efficiency in solving the problems. Keeping that in mind, I'm here to announce one of the coding contests that is happening this Saturday on 28th of January from 9 PM till 12 AM. It's a 3-hour contest. It's Code Rush X, which is organized by Newton School. It happens on a global scale where coding enthusiasts from all over the world would take part and compete to secure their position among the top coders, and they get great rewards. More on that later. As of now, Code Rush has received over 1 lakh registrations, and there are many more to go. And let me tell you that there is no registration cost involved. It's a free contest where you can participate, but the rewards are exemplary, and I would come to that very soon. The questions are framed by ICPC World finalists, and the registrations, as I said, are free and open to all people, both from coding and non-coding backgrounds. Now, these guys have a reward pool of rupees 10 lakhs. At least one problem you have a very good chance of winning something. So let's go to the prizes, because there are a lot of them. So the first prize is rupees 1 lakh, second prize is rupees 50,000, third prize is rupees 25,000, fourth prize 15,000 rupees, fifth prize 10,000 rupees, Then they have Amazon gift vouchers worth rupees 500 for top 500 coders, Amazon gift vouchers worth rupees 100 for coders ranked between 501 to 2000, Amazon gift vouchers worth rupees 100 for coders ranked 2000 and above, random 1000 people solving at least one problem. Then you have goodies for top Indian coders, top 2 gets AirPods 3rd generation, ranks 3 to 10 gets Amazon Echo 4th generation, ranks 11 to 25 get boAt AirDrops 131, rank 26 to 100 gets Cool Zipper. On top of it, the first 10 Indian solvers for every question gets an ergonomic keyboard from Newton School. Scholarships worth rupees 20,000 also awarded to top performers. So kudos to Newton School for giving so many prizes and rewards and motivating the students and the professionals to take up competitive coding and practice DSA. That would be helpful in turn to crack these companies. The contest again is on this Sunday, 28th of January. Registration is free. It is a 3-hour contest. It will commence on 9 PM and it will end at 12 AM. I will attach the registration link to the contest in the description down below. So do go and check it out, register for the contest and have a lot of fun, and I really wish you all the best. Now let's continue with the video. A couple of other design patterns also includes null, object, adapter design patterns which I already mentioned, iterative design pattern, strategy, chain of responsibility and these things. So a very good book of design patterns I would suggest is Head First Design Patterns. Apart from that, you have my LLD playlist. And also you can follow Pseudocode's YouTube channel as well. That is again a great YouTube channel for design patterns. If you want to do it in C++, then you can follow Kirti's channels for design patterns as well. Apart from that, again there are a couple of other good Christian Okuravi, I think is one of, I think if I get the name correct, that is also one good YouTube channel which is basically based on the same book that I just mentioned, that is Head First Design Patterns. So if you are not a bookworm, then you can probably watch his channel because he has taken the examples on the book and explained it to you guys. But his videos are usually very long. So yeah, I mean, if you have time, definitely go for it. Also, I would suggest you to read a little bit about UML diagrams, because sometimes you have to design the classes and all in an LLD interview with the help of UML. So having a knowledge about UML diagrams definitely helps. And these are the things that are very basic things. So I think not only for LLD interviews, even if you go and join a company, you would be overwhelmed by the code base, because there you would see a lot of usage of these design patterns. If you know these concepts even as a fresher, this will really help you a lot if you are going to work in a big tech company or any company, as for instance, because you would see the solid principles, clean coding, design patterns and action over there as well. So even if you are not preparing for LLD interviews, please feel free to start preparing these things right now. Now this was all about the basics. Now let's come to how does a LLD interview goes. Now to be very honest, very few companies will directly ask you to implement a design pattern or stuff like that. Yeah, they might ask you a couple of questions around the same, but mostly LLD interviews are basically of two types, right? One is the classical LLD interview, which we are going to talk about in depth in this video, and another one is machine coding, which I'm going to touch on, but I won't go much in depth on machine coding in this video, because machine coding is a different ball game and I would make a separate video on that. But normally what I would say is machine coding is asked in companies which are not big product based companies, which are like mostly startups. They ask you machine coding, but normally big tech companies like Microsoft, Amazon, they mostly ask you the classical LLD way of questioning. First of all, they would throw you a question. You have to clarify the requirements. This is going to be a very important step. You should ideally take 5 to 10 minutes to clarify the requirements. Then they would ask you to list down the classes, the entities, basically the methods or the behaviors of those entities, how those entities are expected to interact with each other, and then maybe they would ask you to implement some of the methods or behaviors, right? So this is how a classical LLD interview looks like. And if it's a machine coding round, then you have to implement all the code from scratch, and you have to make sure that it's a running code. If they throw some test cases at you, your code runs, passing all those test cases. But if it's an LLD round, then you're not expected to write end-to-end code. So machine coding round is generally for a longer duration of time. It is for around 1.5 to 2 hours, while the classical LLD interview is generally around 1 hour. Now I'm going to talk about the topics that you should prepare in an LLD interview. You can go ahead and prepare as many topics as you can, but these are the topics that I prepared, and I really think these are very important topics, because generally the LLD questions revolve around this in most of the companies. I would also give you the machine coding important topics as well, but I am not going to cover machine coding or what are the things that you need to cover in machine coding in great detail over here. I would make a separate video on that. So the first important question, or what I call the hello world of LLD problem, is the parking lot. So parking lot can also be asked as a machine coding question as well, and can also come as an LLD question as well, right? Next up is snakes and ladders. Again, snakes and ladders, a lot of variations of snakes and ladders. but you be prepared with the basic one. And again, this can be asked both as a classical LLD question as well as a machine coding question. In one of the top tech startups where I interviewed for, I faced snakes and ladders in one of the machine coding rounds, right? So yeah, snakes and ladders is a very common question which can be asked in both ways. So be prepared with it. And since I'm talking about snakes and ladders, also be prepared with chess, Ludo, tic-tac-toe. These basically fall under the game section of LLD. So if you're prepared with one or two of the designs, then the other designs I'm very sure you would be able to come up, or maybe you can write the class design on your own, right? I would come up with these videos very soon on my LLD playlist. So yeah, as I said, stay tuned and give me some time to prepare for these videos. Next up is Book My Show. Again, Book My Show is basically an HLD question, but I would suggest that prepare it as an LLD question as well, because again, I was asked this question as an LLD in one of the startups where I interviewed for, and there I was asked to deal with concurrency. So yeah, I mean, be prepared with both sides, like both LLD and HLD if you're preparing for Book My Show. Next is ATM, and another very important question of LLD round is elevator systems. So elevator system can also be asked as a machine coding question as well, so be prepared with it. Next is vending machine. Designing a vending machine is something that I have already covered in my LLD playlist, so feel free to go and check out that. In that very video, I have also used state design pattern to design a vending machine. Next is hotel management, which is again a very commonly asked LLD question. Another very important LLD question is carpooling like Uber, Ola, and also car rental like Zoom Car. Also, some of the very important LLD questions include designing a type ahead, designing a file system, designing ClickBuzz, designing a social media platform like LinkedIn, designing Jira, which actually asked by Microsoft to one of my friends. And yeah, this is mostly it for the classical LLD part. And there are a couple of questions which you need to prepare for machine coding, for which one of them, a very important question for machine coding, is splitwise. It's one of the very famous question asked in most of the top tech companies if they're taking a machine coding round. And another one is rate limiter, which is again a very famous question asked by Atlassian. Also, there are two questions which are kind of hard, I feel, and you might not expect these if you are a fresher or if you are having less than 4 years of experience. These two include designing a messaging queue, which again can be asked as a HLD question, but it is very rare that you would get a machine coding question for designing a messaging queue. And another one is designing a distributed cache. Again, distributed cache can be asked as a HLD question, but LLD question, it is kind of rare, but be prepared, or if you're curious to know, please go and read about it. Also, you can go and read about designing an online auction system using the observer design pattern. The observer design pattern I've already covered in my LLD playlist. So that's mostly it about LLD and the machine coding topics that you need to prepare for. However, for machine coding, there are a lot of other things that you need to prepare for as well, which I would make a separate video on. And talking about the resources for LLD, I would say it's kind of very few and far between when it comes to online LLD resources. You can go and check out Educative's LLD course. Again, this is not a paid promotion by them, but the problem is that their course is paid. For free resources, I mean, there is no one single resource as of now. As I said, you can watch Kirti's videos, Gaurav Sen's videos, Pseudocode's videos. There are a couple of other channels as well, they already mentioned. Or the thing which I used to do was search for, let's say I want to learn about Zoom Car LLD design. So I used to just search for it in Google or YouTube, go through a couple of Medium articles or a couple of YouTube videos and take the best out of all the things. So basically that's how you should study design. Be it LLD or HLD, you should read multiple resources that your knowledge kind of enriches, and then you kind of take the design that kind of aligns with you. Or you feel that it is something that you would be able to explain in a better way in the interview, right? But when it comes to LLD or system design in general, so there is no one correct solution. It all depends on whether you're able to defend yourself in an interview. So basically you come up with a design, and if you're able to successfully defend that design in an interview against the interviewer, then you can deem it as a successful interview. So that's the way basically it goes. So yeah, keep preparing, keep reading, and I would come up with more LLD topics on my channel. So make sure that you stay tuned with me. And yeah, that's it for the video, guys. I hope that this brought some value to you and will help you in your preparation. Having said that, I will bid adieu to you guys over here, and we'll see you in the next video with some other similar topic. Till then, stay safe and goodbye.